This is a meeting of the Board of Adjustments. We have an agenda. First thing we're going to do is do a confirmation quorum. So do we have 5 people here?
Aye. Yeah.
Okay, good to go. Then we're going to do Pledge of Allegiance. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then we'll honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to these Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Okay. All right, so first item for individual consideration is discussion of an action on the election of Board of Officers to include Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Board of Adjustments. So I'll go ahead and throw it open to comment.
I'm always here as a vice or other, but I'm still working full-time and hard for me to be a chair.
Okay.
Has it already been a year or so
It's-
since we did this? My gosh.
It's been quite a while.
All right.
Yeah. So does anybody have any comments?
I'm like him. I travel about 2 weeks out of the month, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty open, so I don't have any comment at this time.
Okay. All right. Does anyone want to make a motion to elect a chairman and a vice chairman?
Yeah, I nominate Bob Logie if he's available.
I am retired, so I am available.
All right. Great.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we want to go and have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, it carries. Let's have do we have a motion for vice chairman?
Motion?
I would nominate Charlie Roberts for vice chairman.
And I'd accept that position
Okay.
if
Okay.
I think so.
All right, well, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that carries as well. Thank you very much. Okay, all right, move forward to the public hearing. This is to give all interested persons a right to appear and be heard on a request by Gary Case or a variance to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98 zoning, Section 98-62, for home renovations that would encroach on the front yard setback of 40 feet on a single-family residential zoned lot located at 14111 Circle A Trail, Helotes, Texas, 78023, and described as Bear County Appraisal District property ID number 242598. This is an open session, so we'll go ahead and go to citizens to be heard. Is anyone signed up to speak on either, on behalf of?
Yes, we do have someone for the public hearing, which is Mike Krizak.
Yeah, please come on up and just state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Mike Krisak. I live at 14110 Circle A Trail for the last 48 years. I've lived across the street from that house when Charlie lived in it. And I watched the gentleman over there work on his house, and he's doing a fantastic job. And I can see it right through the front of my house. So I guess I'm the only one that can see it every day. And I have no objections to him working on that house. That house, you wouldn't know it, it was improved because it had when Charlie Garcia had it, it had a flat roof with tar and rocks on it. So it had no pitch on the roof for rain. And I think that's what he wants to do, is put more of a pitch on it, which I have no objection to. That's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for speaking on behalf. Does anybody else want to speak on behalf of this?
I'm the builder.
We-
Do I speak now? Or?
You'll come up on the agenda item when we get to that. But if anybody else just wants to speak on behalf of the item,
Okay. All right, then We'll go ahead and close citizens to be heard comments and move forward with the item.
It'll be the public hearing, which you'll close at 7:04.
Public hearing to close as Q704.
7:04, right, okay.
Okay.
And then next for citizens to be heard, and then we don't have anybody to speak on that.
Okay. Then and the homeowners here? Okay. Why don't, I would invite you to come up and state your name and address, and then basically just tell us what it is you're doing and how we can help.
I am Gary Case. I am the homestead owner and trying to get it finished to actually move in with soon-to-be wife. And I spent a lot of time there. It's 14111 Circle A Trail. So I see most of the city, I think, go through the road next to me with the detours. So I have a lot of visitors and drop-ins. So, and I'm trying to bring it up to the current codes, because it's been there a long time. And I've done a lot of improvements to it that have been run through the board. So doing that, and my friend over here, Kenny Garcia, is the general. So he's helping out immensely. So that's roughly what we're doing.
So I'm just gonna kind of read it for the record.
Please.
Says discussion of an action on the request by Jerry Case for variance to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98 zoning, Section 9862, subparagraph C1, front yard setback, authorizing an encroachment on the required front yard setback of 40 feet on a single-family residential zoned lot located at 14111 Circle Lake Trail, Helotes, Texas 78023, more particularly described as BCAT property ID number 242598, before you guys ask any questions, so just for the
Okay.
record.
Okay. So what exactly are you proposing? What are you building or changing?
On each end of the house, we're running a 12 by 12 extension out from the existing kitchen out to the side on one end. On the other end, we're actually building a bedroom and laundry area for the house. The house was built, it's a 2-story home. The high story is the primary home. The low story is the laundry area down there and a carport garage in there. We have, I recently had a visit from SAW, where they were coming in to do water metering, the meter installation. Unfortunately, their contract crew blew up the box, literally, because they were power washing it, and it disintegrated. And that was my box and my neighbor's box, in a box about this big. So after about two months of discussion with SAW, back and forth, I finally had a superintendent of installations visit me one day, and he procured a box. I'm not sure where the box came from, but it was a water box. And we got that put back together. And after that, I was ready to go ahead and start having the system monitored for a while. Because SAW had put out some guidance on if you have old water systems, you might want to check them. So I had a reliable plumber come out and do that. And for the last couple months, we've been replacing every pipe in what was an underground system all the way, putting it aerial. So, and now we're ready to go ahead and do the other 2 rooms we were talking about,
Okay.
roughly.
So, as I understand it, you're looking for a variance to a front yard setback, because I'm looking at the architectural, drawing.
Yes,
So it looks like you're basically kind of extending your entryway out.
Yeah, so if you look
That's
at
a
the photo that's up there right now, you're gonna see this is what the existing plan looks like. And we're basically gonna focus on the area here that's by my cursor. You're gonna see that it actually says 36 feet 1 inch, okay? So this is basically our property line, and based on the submitted by the applicant and the contractor, they're saying that when they purchased the home, they were already under 40 feet, okay? So staff has diligently looked for a detailed sheet to this property. If you look at, one of the pictures that I do have is actually like part of the plat. And forgive me here, let me just kind of get to that page real quick. This right here. So this is the area that he lives in. And we've looked for, basically, if you look at this, today's plats already have like, they'll have the setbacks already written in there. But this was like 1960 something, I guess, right?
62 or
62,
3.
yeah. So along with this sheet here would have been an additional sheet that would have had like details. And it would have told you what the setbacks were, you know. So we don't have that, and no, we've been able to locate that, you know, because it could have possibly said that it was purchased at 36, you know, setback already at 36, or maybe 40, we don't really know. So to his point, they're starting out with the assumption that it's already at 36. They're already under the 40, you know, based on the prior builder, okay? So I just kind of wanted to point that out real quick. So,
Thank you.
The home was built in the 60s.
yes,
Correct.
correct.
Yes.
So that part of the structure, I guess, would be grandfathered
Correct.
now. Okay.
Right. So it's just something to take into consideration when making the decision, right? So if you look at this aerial view here of the existing plan, you're gonna see, this is pretty much what it looks like. You're gonna see that it says 36 and 1 right here where my cursor is. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I know it's kind of hard to see sometimes.
Are we looking at the front of the house?
That's
Yes,
right
right
there.
here where the
From the
cursor is.
street.
Yeah.
Okay,
At the
okay,
bottom.
So this is the street right here.
okay.
And he has a circular drive,
Okay.
okay? And then I'll make it a little bit bigger. So then if you move on to the next thing, this is the renovation plan, and you're gonna see that it extends right here. Okay? So it's gonna encroach a little bit further than the 40 already. Again, we're under the assumption that looks like it was only 36 to begin with, right?
And for the record, the only discussion agenda item is that new vestibule or small portico.
Is literally this little section right here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Side setbacks are good.
Everything else is fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're not moving like the whole front of the house?
We're just moving the porch entry. That's the
Yeah,
only
that's what I
thing
was
that's
saying.
extended. And it's difficult to say like exactly, oh, it's exactly 2 feet, 11 inches or so forth, based on not having the prior knowledge of what the property line,
I
what
Not a
the
survey?
proposal was originally.
I believe the porch was originally open.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can show you some of those photos for sure, yeah.
Right now, what is the current distance from the porch to the street?
Well, I'm hoping that the contractor could kind of clarify that, because like I said, you know, if he's already at 36.1 and he's adding, let's say, 2 more feet, then it'll be, you know,
34?
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, can we
well,
invite
38
the
actually,
contractor to the
I
general
think that'd be,
38.
absolutely.
But, you know, again, did you have, anybody have questions?
Did you not have, how long have you owned the property?
2 years sometime this month.
You got a survey when you bought the property?
I had a surveyor come out because there was no survey available. So we bought it mostly as is. And we've been in the state of, okay, discovery, because when we started out, we had a house that had a gas water heater down in the laundry down below. It was just about lost. In the kitchen area, there was a 20-gallon electric heater. That's where most of the heat came from on any hot water. So in the process of repiping everything, we pretty much re-engineered the water system.
The surveyor didn't give you like a boundary survey when you bought it?
Yeah, the boundary survey, but there's not much on
You
it.
didn't mark the corners of the house aren't on it or anything? Were you talking about that, not knowing if it's 36?
Yeah,
Like
so
boundary should show you.
I'm assuming that they utilize this, like part of the survey to create the rendering. But I
Yeah,
mean, I guess
that's
the
correct.
contractor can
Should be.
verify that.
So,
So what, and I don't know if I'm jumping too far ahead, but what is the point of going further out? Is it usability? Is it aesthetics only? What are you gaining from going further out from, I noticed in your application, you said you're okay leaving it as is. And that's where I just want to know if there's an accessibility issue, constructability, what is it that's causing you
yeah,
to?
probably a little bit of all of those features. One, at one point, they've done a roof replacement in this. I'm not sure which one they did, when they did it, but they covered the porch that was originally open. I think it was open because it had lattice. So they brought that out, and you can see in the drawing, but the drain structure of the roof was altered. And that goes with some of the height adjustment. They were talking about raising the height and had a rock ceiling at one time. So they did those adjustments during that period, and they covered that roof. And originally, that roof, if you look at the front door, you can see where the opening is. Okay, they brought that roof straight down. It actually cut off the top right-hand corner of the front door. And all that wood is still up there. And the roof used to go here from the right all the way to the left wall and come out, because that was the drain system there. So part of the roof structure, they modified the draining structure. And getting to one of the reasons in that draining structure is it doesn't drain correctly. And all the way to the right, you'll find that the dirt is above the level of the floor. In other words, there's about 8 inches of dirt outside of the bricks going into the dining room, which I discovered when I started taking the floor up because it had an odor, and it's because it was getting wet. So one of the features of that is put the drain back like it used to be, put the other structure in, and that structure is similar to what you see all over town, mostly in commercial places, but it's just a small lift. You extend the roof out, you put drainage up there, you put drainage underneath to catch the water coming down, you re-vent it to where it needs to go. Otherwise, a lot of the rain runs down the street. There's a culvert at the end of the house that goes all the way down to the end of the property. So it's really two features. One, to make it look prettier, and nobody's had a problem with that. They all like it because it's different. Two, it fit right into the structure like it is. So we brought it out to the front to give it a little feature and move it 2 feet out into the street. It's a little tight there, but it's holding the front part up, and the back is going to come down in the existing patio and be supported. We move the drain structures in so you can support the roof without having to tie it all the way into the house, but it is tied into the right side.
Michael, can we go up a little bit? Right there, that's good. So if you build this as it's proposed, how far into your driveway is this going to extend?
2 feet.
So
And
you're-
really, it's about a foot and something, because the drain will go back behind it on the left side. On the right side, there'll be 2 places it drains out, and it's gonna drain straight down, and then it's gonna go into the existing driveway, and it exits down on the left side of the property. Now, there's a history with the property of, on this left wing at the front, that's where the water used to go. And the water went from 60 feet in the left-hand corner all the way across the rock banks and down, and it came in that front, which is where the only hose bib on the front of that house was. It was also where the water came into the house. So, as part of all that, all of the plumbing that was in there in iron is now capped, and everything is run up. So,
So just to capture some detail, I think the last drawing in the group is the topographical map. This property, if everybody hasn't been by it, the front street is much higher than the property itself.
Yeah.
The driveway drains all to this entry of the house, and it has rock walls on each side of the driveway that carry the water that direction. The property continues to drop in elevation as you move from the front of the house to the back. And the change in elevation is 1.5, 2 stories by the time you get to the back of the house. So it's
Yes.
real dramatic, the drop off. So you can see why the original house was pushed so far forward on the property.
it doesn't, the house doesn't have a pantry. Never had a pantry. I think it had a room that was served as a pantry in an adjacent part of the house, away from the kitchen. The water heater is all the way down in that back area. So all the water had to come up a story and serve, which most things this type now would make that, or they put enough pressure in it, yada, yada. So the house has been literally 100% replumbed. And of that, sorry, when we get to the 2 new rooms, they'll be plumbed from the same system. It's all brand new, so.
Okay. Do we have any more questions?
Just one follow-up, you definitely, through the images, I can see that architecturally, you've done something here that's aesthetically pleasing to most people, probably. I like the way it looks, but my peer asked about accessibility, future access for elderly, things like that. You did mention that, it's a little bit of all of that. I can see that the front posts they're pushed out about 18 inches from the existing patio today. That's the only piece of the structure that touches the driveway, those 2 posts. And the roof ahead seems to be so far up, it's not gonna get into the way of vehicles coming through or anything.
No.
The question really is, do you feel like that new structure will give you better access in the future? Or to give visitors, possibly wheelchairs, things like that, more room to move within the front of the house to gain entrance or exit?
In the process, that's one thing you haven't seen drawn. In the process of doing that, right now, there's one step built into that. And bringing it out to a second step would give more access to there. Plus, it can be modified anyway, ramps, so, the inside of the house has been modified. Plus, at the back side of the house, there's a very narrow stairwell that goes down to the carport area. That's all there is in there, and its only purpose was to come up, and it's got a locked door, which needs to come off.
So this is the main entrance and exit from the house
This is the
today?
main entrance and exit to the house. There are two others when you get into the living room, because the living room and the master bedroom both have access to the back patio and the upstairs and the downstairs. So there are more ways to exit it.
All right.
It's not the most convenient, but,
How wide is the driveway?
oh geez. Oh, the driveway in there? Somebody has to ask me that.
That driveway is about 10 or 12 feet.
So let's say 12, let's call it 12 feet.
About 10 or 12 feet.
It can be tight. A big truck, delivery truck has a big time between the trees and everything else. You've got to navigate your way through it.
Okay.
It's accessible. There's two ways, the 2-lane wraparound. So,
In the event of an emergency, have y'all verified for, say, an ambulance? I know a fire truck wouldn't have to get that far down, but if that's the main entrance, it didn't appear in the pictures that there was any real accessible areas or to the other part of the house. Is that gonna cause an issue trying to get an ambulance that close, or first responder's gonna have to go from the street a lot further up and back down?
well, at the second level, you've got a double wide entry.
Yes, but to get from the ambulance and gurneys and everything into the house, has that been considered in this? That's still gonna be, something that can easily be done?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
The ambulance has been down there when Charlie Garcia lived there. He had his heart attack and was married. The ambulance was down in that house.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
There's room to adapt that entrance. I would be happy to adapt that entrance. Simply put, because it's not the most convenient driveway, and I know from the family of the Garcias, they had lots of visitors all the time. And one thing I did do was I had the purple area, the yellow area, and the green area. Those are the easement areas. They were dirt. And all of those areas had 1/8 of tar on all of those areas and then gravel. And I can tell you, Rita was one of the first ones when she said, how do I get in and out of here? Because when you came across those areas up there, all you got was 1/8 of stuff spinning away and the gravel with it, because it was fine gravel.
Right.
So I had those paved, which I believe everybody is happy to see that, because it makes it easier. It makes it easier for the school bus to get around, that goes around the corner every day. So it's very accessible. Only you can see the car. It's really a one car down in that level.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be happy to knock part of that wall out and make it wider. But, right now, we're here arguing graciously, but arguing about, the things that can make it better. So there's plenty of opportunity for that.
Okay.
Wouldn't take a lot, I don't think. If you look you can see where the pitch of that porch is,
Oh, yeah.
and it's already widened up on that. You come in from the purple angle. Wouldn't take a lot on that retaining wall, on that island, if you needed to do that. It'd be pretty simple.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you would raise it up above that. You'd accommodate the way it was originally built. And when they made the modifications, and what you do is bring that structure up, make it a little deeper back in. It's not going to be attached to the roof. It's going to be over that roof. Put in the drainage systems on either side, replace the drainage on the lower side, and then it's all going to run a whole lot better than it does. So that's
Okay.
the plan.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. I guess we can just go and close.
You can, you guys are gonna motion?
Yeah, if we could get a motion to go and just close discussion, then we'll have to do another motion to.
Motion to close.
Okay.
After closing,
So we can,
is there an opportunity for the general to speak, or can we ask questions of the general contractor at that time still?
You could do it now,
Yeah.
prior to.
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for GC?
I'll get out, let me get out of the way.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Could I just point out one thing?
Sure, we'll come on up. And what's your name?
Kenny Garcia,
And you are the,
contractor.
for this project?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you don't mind, well, number one, if you see that black truck, I think that's an Expedition, where you can see it's got pretty good width on wide of the driveway there, you know, you can see it. But then number two, if you can go to the pictures of the house, the front door, the front porch, right, let me see, maybe one more screen. A little bit higher, if you don't mind, please. You can see right there by the front porch, the picture on the right, that the sidewalk, if you don't mind going down one, please. I think down one, right there.
Here?
You see, yes, you see that, it's already popping out.
That step,
I'm just guessing 18 inches or so. So we'll be bringing it maybe 6 inches more than that, or we'll cut that out and support it structurally correct. But it's not like it's going from, you know, it doesn't eat into the driveway.
you're not going from the slab, you're going at this point.
Right, like right now, the slab right there is already, I'm just estimating 18 inches if you,
Yeah.
you know. And if we going 2 feet, it's.
And add 6 more inches.
Right, not a full 2 more feet
Gotcha.
into the driveway. So that's all I wanted to point out. And if you had any questions for me, I'm glad to answer anything.
Have you put a tape measure and measured from the end of that step to the street?
No, sir. No, and I wouldn't even know where the exact setback, I mean, are you talking, when you say the street, you're talking the street, not the driveway? Are you
So-
talking?
That's the difficulty here, is in that neighborhood, the city-owned easement in the front is considerably wide.
Right.
And so the property line itself is typically 14, 15, 16 feet off of the asphalt.
Okay. But I think the setback should take that into account. So when we talk about 40, you know, right now we're talking about a 40-foot setback.
Yeah, the setback is measured from the property line itself back to the structure.
To the structure.
And then in front of the property line, the city owns a considerable
Right-of-way.
piece that we don't have a measurement for that.
Okay.
So
It's usually used for drainage and stuff like that in most of the cities.
so it might be 55 feet, it might be 50 feet from the actual street. Mhm. So if you have any questions, please ask me.
How tall is that structure actually gonna be?
Oh, you know, I don't remember, I'm guessing about 16 feet, but I'm just kind of guesstimating.
At its highest point, yeah.
Mhm.
About 16 feet to that?
Yeah, the front, you know, it looks twice as the front door, you know, when you just kind of, but I'm just eyeballing it, I don't,
The door is a 36 wide, 210s built in. It's a single pane, quite old. And at the top
does
of,
it show it?
Say it right there.
at the top of the door, the roof starts, the roof framing starts there. We initially wanted to bump it up a little bit, but I think you probably have about 6 inches. You could add another window there if anything. But
Looks like it's
That's it right there. Can you see, is that 17?
12.6.
12
At 12.6, okay.
Plus 4, no,
yeah,
or not?
No, that should be your
It's
total.
12.6.
That 12 is what
12.6.
this is showing total.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so 12.6.
so it's not even going above the peak. Scroll up a little bit, you can see the top of the roof. There you go.
Yeah, it's below the peak.
Yeah.
of the main roof. Correct.
that right now, it does not exceed the peak of the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Just that area. I mean, it can be adjusted. The concept was to try to do something about this and get the drainage. You can see that where the roof starts, you can see the draining coming back over right above where he is, right to the left there.
Yeah, so I can see the existing roof line on the older part of the house.
Yes,
Gutter in the front,
and
gutter
that's,
going back to
that's-
near the door,
Yeah.
and gutter cutting across left to right.
because the gutter to the right going across
Mhm.
used to go all the way across and
Mhm.
come out.
Yes, yes. And so the new design, did I hear you correctly that the two vertical supports that are in the very front, that there's a drain behind those that's carrying water off of the new structure?
Yes. So you got to double, one over, one over. There's a lot of houses that are built that way now, little twin towers, I guess.
Mhm. I think I've asked all the questions I had.
Okay,
I don't have any,
Thank
okay.
you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can go ahead and
This is mine.
close the discussion.
motion to close the discussion.
Second. Okay, can we get a motion to open to discuss amongst ourselves?
Motion to open?
Second?
Okay. All right, let's just kind of go around the room. We'll start here. Just talk. What are your thoughts?
I'm looking at more of drainage. If it's built for drainage, I can see how that could be, positive to change that up. So that's kind of the thing I think is the most important part of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it addresses his drainage issue, which, it was obviously something done after, before he bought the property. I think it's aesthetically pleasing. He's got his
Yeah.
neighbor here who's gonna see it, and I think it looks good, and to the contractor's point, it's only bringing out those posts another 6 inches or so. I don't really have an issue with this at all.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd just parrot the same comments that, with the local neighbor that's been there so long and no one else responding negatively, you've got support in the neighborhood here. And again, 6-inch movement on the base level, and the overhang is way up there. I don't see where this is gonna cause a problem for anybody. And I don't think we're setting a crazy precedent by saying, hey, you're asking for a 6-inch movement in our concern, where the existing step is already sitting just about right there. So, yeah, no more questions for me. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. Aesthetically, it looks great. It works very well. Does address your drainage issues. I would caution you to just double check and make sure you have your gutters and you have everything there. So we're not doing this for no reason. And look into your retaining wall across there, just to ensure easy access. That's one of those things to be aware of. But other than that, yeah, it's only a few inches. I don't think there's a bad precedent being set here at all.
Okay. So my thoughts are, number one, I think it's a great idea. I like the idea. But I have a concern where if we approve 6 inches, you may decide to come back that you want more. I mean, honestly, if I were building that, especially from an accessibility point of view, I would want to move that to the other side of the driveway, so I could drive through, and if it's pouring rain, just pull up and park underneath, offload whatever I have to offload.
Make it a porte-cochere type deal?
Exactly. So I think, and we've done this in the past, where we can approve a modification where the setback would not exceed a certain amount. So rather than, saying, well, we're gonna approve 6 inches, and then that's kind of final, then if they, you change your mind, it's, you have scope creep, then maybe we should consider from a what's the most we would allow, if that makes any sense. See what I'm saying? And that way, both the owner and the contractor, they have that flexibility, because something may change, because I've been down this road. If you think of, if you,
Not to exceed distance.
precisely. So if y'all are good with that, then what we have to think about is this. The house was built in 1961, so that was 20 years before the city of Helotes was incorporated. So I think we have to look, and that's our job as Board of Adjustments, is to look at what are basically arbitrary numbers, like the setbacks, as starting points and decide how can we vary it for each, individual. And I think that's what we have here. So my question would be, how much of a setback should we, how much of a variance in the setback should we allow?
Can I answer a question about that setback?
Sure.
He must have a foot more back than you think, because the city does not pave the road.
Right.
They pave the road, and it's a ditch 1 foot in front of his rock wall. They quit paving there.
Right.
So they quit paving because that's his setback starting there. They've never paved, it's always gravel by his rock wall.
Okay. And I understand. Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure that I was clear. I was saying like 6 inches from the current slab,
Correct.
not like like asking for a 6-inch variance, of where the front porch slab is. And I just calculated it, and
Okay.
you said you give us a little, you work on the exact amount. But I'm just estimating it's about 18 inches plus the 6.
Right.
6 past the current, that's all. I want to make sure we were clear.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked the question earlier, what's the distance from the current slab, to the street? I asked the question, what's the width of the driveways? Figure out if we're going to approve a variance, how much do we really need to approve? Are we approving enough variance? Is really my concern. I mean, I'm
2 feet?
Well, that's the question. So so again, how wide is that driveway?
I mean, we're just estimating like 12 feet. I don't have any.
Okay, 12 feet. Okay, you said 10 to 12, right?
I'm so sorry.
I think earlier when I asked the question, you said 10 to 12 feet.
No, I think that.
Okay, you said that. So let's call it 12 feet.
Did I make a mistake? I would love to widen that by taking some of the distance between the uphill part of that to the street.
Right.
In other words, squeeze another, to your point about a drive-through, or at least something wide enough to get another vehicle in there.
Mhm, right.
I'd be happy to do that and just build a sidewalk up to the street.
Okay. So the question is, do we want to approve, how much of a variance do we want to approve? That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah, so trying to put some words to it, because the variance request doesn't give us a numerical value currently. Looking at the architectural drawing, the roof part, and that's normally where the variance is measured at the closest point, so the roof hangs out the closest to the street. I think that this variance is somewhere in the 3 feet to 3.5 feet range right now. So I would propose that we put some words that say, we approve the addition of the patio cover structure not to extend beyond I'm
Width.
trying to think about the right word, the width of the driveway and the existing rock wall that's on the other side. Not to exceed again, and that allows the owner and the builder to come up with what works best for them.
Exactly. Okay. I think that sounds
That
reasonable.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. So, Okay, all right, we'll go and close discussion among the board. And we will go ahead and take a vote to approve. I would make,
You'll make a motion?
I'll go, unless, Charlie, why don't you make the
I'll
motion?
forward the motion on. Forward a motion to accept the variance as stated in agenda item number
5.
5, with the stipulation that the variance will not exceed the distance from the existing front porch exit to the other side of the existing driveway.
To the island, is that an island?
It's like a U, like, is that what you mean? Like a U driveway?
I would word that from the existing structural slab to the opposite side of the existing driveway, right in front of it linearly.
Agreed.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
A
captures,
little clearer.
Yeah.
that captures it.
Can you restate
Did
that for
that?
the record? Will you restate that for the record,
Yeah.
Charlie?
So, let's try it again. So I will forward a motion to accept the variance request on agenda item number 5 with the stipulation that the variance approval would allow for a new structure that could extend from the existing front patio foundation edge to the other side of the existing driveway.
I second that. Can we go and vote? Are you-
Yes, indeed.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous. Congratulations, you get your variance. Welcome. Okay. And that being the end of, that's the only business we have tonight, we'll go ahead and close the meeting and adjourn.
Thank you very much. Good job, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, value.
A lot more goes. Yeah.
Yeah.